Hello, 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 hello. It is Monday evening. It is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and it is time for Create Your Future Self Live. I am Laquita Monley. I am the military spouse that provides work from home opportunities for other military spouses as well as civilians. And I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co host, Mr. Victor Johnson of Nico Don Projects. He is the Don, guys. You want to make sure that you connect with Vic for all of your real estate closing needs because he is a mobile closer among many other things. And today we have a very special guest with us, Miss Angela Heath. Angela is the gig income guru. You got it, the gig income guru. She is an award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, and the author of Do the Hustle Without the Hassle. Like when I saw that title, it made my smile brighter, right? Do the hustle without the hassle, because oftentimes we talk about our side hustles, this and what hustle you have. Well, Miss Angela is going to share so many wonderful things with us today about the gig economy and how we can do the hustle without all the hassle. So you guys, our wonderful viewing audience, thank you so much for joining us again this Monday evening, as you do every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We thank you guys that are viewing us across Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitter. Go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hit those share buttons. Go ahead and get your watch party started. Invite everyone in that you know will be excited to learn more about the gig economy and how it can be a wonderful tool for small businesses, entrepreneurs, micropreneurs, solopreneurs, wherever you find yourself at on that spectrum. Get in this room this evening. You don't want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. So guys, how are you doing? How was your weekend? How was everybody's day?
Beautiful, beautiful time. Good weekend. Excellent intro, Laquita. Thank you so much. And I just want to give the floor to Angela Heath. You're our guest. How was your weekend?
I told her, I said, my weekend must have been like nondescript because I didn't have anything to describe it. So, I think that means I didn't get in any trouble and I didn't cause any trouble.
Hey, that's a good thing. Man. Well, we're very happy to have you on. I was very intrigued by this title. I love it. I love it. The gig economy, first of all. I've heard a few people mention that before, but the title, Do the Hustle Without the Hassle. Let's jump right into it. How'd you come up with that title? And let's start talking about this great book.
I worked with a book coach and I was doing something with the hustle because, hustle back in the day actually was not a positive thing. And so I was like, everybody's using the term hustle. But what I'm trying to communicate is that it doesn't have to be all of that. Mm-hmm. And actually, I can't take credit for the hassle part. The book coach came up with that.
Sure, she got a check for it, so it's yours now.
Yeah. It's all yours. It's all yours. Do the hustle without the hassle. I like it because I know before COVID, like we've been in, I would say probably about the last, I would say even 5 years within our African-American community. It's been going on longer than that, but the type of attention and notoriety that it has gotten with how to turn your hustle into a legitimate business, that's been like the big thing to do in our community. And then with COVID-19 coming in, not just within our community, but on a more global scale, people began to realize, hey, I need to have something that is my business, right, so that if my job gets shut down, I still have a source of income that I have some semblance of control over. So I loved it from that aspect. Like right now, during this time, people more than ever have realized the need to be entrepreneurs and how to turn that side hustle into a legitimate business.
But you know what? This is the deal. This is the way I foresee the future. A lot of people don't really know it yet, see, because the country's not totally back open. Mm-hmm. So some people know that they are never going back to the job they had before. Many people won't find out until they go back to the office. And then when that cash flow is not flowing, we will find out that some people are going to be going back to the office to pack up their stuff and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We should always have multiple streams of income. And, sometimes when people say that, people think, oh, well, I have to have huge streams of income. I'm going to tell you, sometimes all you need is a little trickle, when you're just that much short from paying your mortgage, you may not need a flood, you may need a trickle.
Right.
But we need to have options for how we roll, especially with what's happening with this COVID virus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, you hit it on the head, because specifically a lot of people are right, going back to these offices, and maybe it's not even the plan for the company to remove their job or that role, but they realize that the world is not patronizing the same way. The same volume of people aren't hitting the street. The same people aren't spending that amount of money. They're watching their money differently. And so the decision comes out that, hey, you know what, we thought this was going to work, but hey, happy trails to you. And so you're absolutely right. It's a necessity to have multiple streams of income. And it can be $50 extra a month. If it's consistently coming in, that's sweet. That's an extra $600 in a year. I don't know about any of you, but there's a bill that I could pay with $600 in this house, a few of them actually.
Yeah.
So, that's good money coming in. But
I take care of my utilities. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Them utilities.
Essential things.
But I also noticed, am I still there?
You are still here.
I don't see the video all of a sudden, but okay. So the question that I have is, do you specifically work with baby boomers as well, right? So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm a gerontologist, so that means that I've studied the field of aging. And I have worked with baby boomers my entire career. So whatever problems they seem to have, I've always been hired by my clients to help solve those problems. So when I looked back and I saw that the workforce was changing, I'm a little bit of a futurist. I could see the workforce changing. I could see like when the economy crashed in 2008, you guys know it well. You're both doing real estate work. Yeah. Do you know that the unemployment rate among baby boomers was like almost a third? And the average time for them to find something else to replace their income was anywhere from 6 to 14 months.
Wow.
And I said, you know what, that's ridiculous. You're talking about people who are skilled, they're seasoned, they have experience and contacts. And many of them were just like when the government shut down. See, I live outside of DC. We felt the government shut down.
Mm-hmm.
We saw people in bread lines. We saw people saying, I can't buy Pampers for my kid. And while they're standing in the bread lines, I'm saying to myself, you could be doing a little something while you're standing in that bread line crying. So what I saw was that, this particular age group, they weren't ready. And I still, to some degree, will say many are not ready to embrace, the technology changes and the way work is flowing. And so I thought, I can help.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I am very familiar with what was going on in 2008. It did impact my house greatly, but I've never thought about what it did to the people within the different age groups, and how, the baby boomers have a harder time than the rest of us as it pertains to getting a job, securing a job, being called back after the layoff is over. How does that, with some of your clients, what are some of the things that you share with them to help them overcome those hurdles and embrace the idea of stepping into this gig economy, stepping out as entrepreneurs?
The main thing is mindset. And that's pretty much what everybody. But I think that it can be a lot more challenging. Think about it. If you've been in an industry, or some people, maybe with the same company, maybe they've gotten promotions along the way, but you've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. And now you're telling me that I have to go out and get contract work. I don't know how to do that. Nobody ever taught me how to sell or market, or, I just did what they hired me to do. So the mindset piece, I think, is even a little more deeper when you're talking about people who've been in the corporate world or the government world. They don't know anything else.
Mm.
They're afraid. They're
Yeah.
afraid of what else they may have to do.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. And I think it was you. I'm pretty sure it was you. I was having a conversation about. We were talking about how our careers define who we are, and that was one of the things that when I was a GS government worker, I worked as a GS, I worked as a NAP, I worked as a government contractor, and oftentimes in that world, more often than not, the higher position that you held defined who you were. And without that position, it was as if, I won't say your life didn't matter, but your value was less. So you were more valuable with more rank that you have. And some of those individuals, when they found out that me and my husband had went into entrepreneurship, instead of continuing to try to rise up in the GS ranks, they were like, whoa, well, how are you going to do that? I remember it's a lady that saw I was having this conversation with, and she's one of the moms on my son's football team. And she just could not process how being an entrepreneur was safe, how I felt safe and secure being an entrepreneur versus continuing to stay in that government sector. And that's a really big shift. That it was, for me, it wasn't such a big shift because I was beyond tired. But for some people, that was a really big shift. When you're dealing with those clients, those corporate clients, or those clients who come out of government, how do you get them to see, with that mindset changing, how do you get them to see or recognize their own value and how that can benefit them in the entrepreneurial space?
Yeah, some of it is, some people will never recognize their value. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Les Brown or some great speaker said, the cemetery is so sad, not because the people died, but because all of the dreams, the inventions that are buried there. And I actually had a client, and I tell this story all the time because this is so sad to me. This woman, she worked for the government and she was in DOD and she was high top clearance. And she said that the skill set she had developed does not translate into civilian life. So we start looking at, okay, well, what are your passions? What are your hobbies? You've got some more stuff. You got something else. And found out she was a master knitter, a quilter. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I'm a master quilter, but you can't really make money. People don't really buy quilts. And we start brainstorming, and I came up with like a dozen things that she could do with that talent. Everything from, teaching it to getting corporate sponsorships, because I went to a corporation and I saw they had this huge wall hanging that was done by children. And then I remembered the AIDS quilt. And then I said, hey, we can do something with this. And she got excited. And I was so excited for her because she hadn't worked in a year. She was about to lose her home. She called me the next morning and she told me, everything you told me was great. And I wish I could, but you're telling me to start a business and I can't. She lost her house.
Oh, wow.
She lost her house because of the fear.
Oh, wow. She did miss an amazing opportunity. It's funny that you said that because I'm not into quilting or anything like that. But one of my really good friends, her mom is into quilting. And she travels a lot with quilting and pays some nice fees to get in to learn how to do these things for master quilters. And the last time I saw Stephanie and her mom, Miss Valerie is getting ready to go on a quilting cruise. Like, who knew that?
Wow.
Who knew? Like, her and her neighbor.
Nice.
Again, that's not free. They're paying for that, and whatever group had organized that. I mean, this sis did miss out on an amazing opportunity, but people make lots of money in that industry.
Well, you know, what I was going to say is I know that generation particularly, it was more common, obviously, to have a consistent job, to work your job, 40 hours, 40 years, get that watch, get the retirement, get your pension. Obviously, pension is not happening like that anymore, if at all. And the other part of it is that generation is living longer. People are taking better care of themselves. They're living longer than, I guess back then, the statistics were you live to be 72 as a male, maybe 78 as a woman. Well, those numbers are definitely outdated because you're seeing people easily into their 90s, movement, getting around, driving and whatnot. So It is important that people are able to establish some type of side job as they get later into their years, because the other part of it is if you think about it, like, I think there was a statistic that said about 15% of people by 2022, 15% of people over the age of 70 will still be part of the workforce. So that's just telling you who wants to do that. First of all, don't you want to take those cruises and be able to travel? But also, you don't want to have to depend on, can I get enough hours to work? Am I going to be healthy enough to do those jobs and that type of thing? So it's really great work that you're doing. How, first of all, would people reach out to you? What does the process look like if somebody is watching right now and they're saying, you know what, I am in that retirement age and I have had a job or a business idea in my mind and I want to do it. What are the first steps they should take with you?
Well, the first thing I do, I have this assessment. It's called the gig assessment, getting income through gigs.
Okay.
And I have to say this because some people probably are watching this or will watch this and they're like, gigs? What are they talking about? So let's define what a gig is. A gig is a contract. That's all it is. Think about it. Back in the day when the musicians would go out, they get a gig. That was a contract to perform for however long it was. They might have gone with the star singer, to several cities, or they might have gone for one night. It was just a contract. So we're talking about contract work, and we're talking about everything from your interests to ridership to executive level. So the first thing that I do, Victor, is really try to help people figure out what do they have inside of them to think back to all of those gifts and talents, hard skills, soft skills, passions, interests. And then we look at the marketplace and determine which of them are your customers already looking for, what talent,
Okay. So when you're talking to them about finding their passion, the thing that they like, the thing that they're skilled at, and looking for which one of those things would already be a marketable skill or people are already looking for those, how do you get them set up once they say, okay, I accept it, I want to go for it, I want to do it? What are some of the things that maybe one or two things that would be their next steps that you would have for them?
They have to really decide how they want to do it. Some people want a side hustle. Some people want to build what I call a gig pyre. And that's just when you get a whole bunch of gigs and you're making a whole bunch of money.
I like that.
I one year I had all of these little gigs, right? And I was complaining, I was really complaining. Everybody said, I can't get a decent contract. I'm getting all these little gigs. At the end of the year, I made more money than I had in previous year with a whole bunch of small contracts. So never despise small beginnings, but they need to make some decisions. I can help them think through, what's your commitment? What's your energy level? What kind of money do you want to spend? And then they can decide what best fits where they want to go. And then, you know, I have a couple programs when I talk about, you know, how can you jump into a business, again, depending on what you want to do, and spend the least amount of money to get started. You're going to spend money because, you know, people telling you, you know, you don't have to ever spend any money. You have to make investments in your business. But there are ways to jump in with little or no money. So if you want to do that, I mean, you can do franchise work. You can, you know, get in the gig economy. You can do so many things. Like, the thing that I love about the times that we're living is, man, we got a lot of options. We have a lot of options.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is obviously Laquita and I are both real estate investors. I would encourage anyone of any age that has some income and some desire to see their money built and grow and to continue to have that mailbox money month after month. Reach out to one of us, if you're looking for real estate guidance, because that's a very intelligent way to go about it. While you're doing these other gigs, getting contracts, you have some investments going on. So I think that would be a smart thing. And I would assume that you guide them to setting up their business structure as well, so that, like in that example you gave, you probably have money coming from all kind of customers where you could still track that money and still account for it and as a business and pay yourself or however you're running your business. I assume is that part of the coaching or
okay?
Yeah,
but you know, this is what I say. Why waste your time doing things that you can pay somebody else to do and it doesn't cost that much? You know, there's a legal setup that you need to do. Why run around and try to figure out all of that nonsense when you can pay companies that will incorporate you, you know, for a few $100s? It's not like when I started my first business, I was like running around like crazy. I couldn't understand all of this stuff. So there are people now who will do that for you. You know, you need to do your due diligence, but they'll do that for you. You know, we offer a package called the Digital Startup. Why waste all of your time trying to figure out, you know, what platform should you be on? You know, what about the covers? What about a chat box? What about, we can do all of the digital setup for you. So you're legal and you got your digital stuff in place that matches whatever it is you want to do. Now you just need to go out there and get some customers and sell your wares, your services, or whatever. And we're working on the sales startup program, because those are really the three things you need. You need your marketing and sales. You need to be legal, of course. Right. And you need to have your digital footprint in place.
Yeah. So I know we've been talking a little bit about how individuals can maximize or step off into the gig economy. But I know that you also work with small businesses as well. So for those who will be watching this now and watching the replays that are small business owners, how can the gig economy help small business owners?
You know, I look at it in two different ways that are very beneficial to small businesses. I work with a lot of solopreneurs, freelancers, independent contractors, whatever you want to call them, people who don't have employees, or micro business owners with just a couple employees. So think about it, just especially now, COVID virus. Cash flow is an issue for most of us, right? So while you're in this time, hopefully most entrepreneurs are using this time to learn, you know, something new about their business, to, you know, pivot, to connect with potential customers. We're not sitting back. We're using this time wisely, right?
Right.
But you can also use this time to impact your cash flow. So as an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, you yourself can go into the gig economy and get some contracts with your gifts and talents and skills. If you've got employees, you can have your employees go into the gig economy and come up with some contracts that then maybe, you know, you all can benefit from. So when things are getting a little tough, I always say, learn about it, jump in, jump out when you need to.
Mhm.
So that's one way, keep a little cash flow. The second way is really to build that gig pyre, you know. Um, think about it. When you're building your gig pyre and you're looking for contracts, right? You may not want to hire people full time. You may not have the cash flow. You may not want the headache.
Yeah.
Go into the gig economy. Get your team that you need to go after particular contracts. When those contracts have been satisfied, that relationship with that consultant is over. You don't have to worry about anybody trying to sue you because of whatever employment law you broke. Contractors can come and go. You can scale up, scale down, however you need to. And that's the beauty for a small business person.
Just as you were talking about that, as real estate investors, I know that oftentimes we tap into that gig economy for, say, like our virtual assistants or people who are going to be after hours phone calls and different things like that. Instead of saying gig economy, many of us just say virtual assistants, or
Right.
you can go out onto these different platforms where you can get people for that specific job to do that specific task. That, like you said, it frees you up to do the actual business instead of trying to do those particular admin things that is not the best use of the best value for your time. So when you're talking to small business owners, I guess as a consultant, do you help them find areas within their business that where it would be beneficial for them, cost effective, and can help them grow in a way? Is that something that you do for businesses to show them how to maximize
Right.
gig economy?
Yeah. So if they look at, their business operations, and if there's a way that they can more efficiently, more effectively, less expensively bring someone in to help support them with that. You're right. As business people, we are always taking a look at, is this cost effective? I mean, am I wasting my time trying to develop, some graphic design something when I could, it's taking me an hour and I could hire somebody for half my rate who's an expert at it. It doesn't make sense. So we have to look for those ways where we can actually save money, be more effective, and even produce a higher quality product. That's the way we build our businesses.
So I love that those type of services, because I've used them as well to help me with my websites or building some type of a sales page or something like that on my website. But what are your thoughts about for some of your clients or people to actually work as part of these services? For example, like a Fiverr or Upwork, where I think they take maybe 25-30% of that freelancer's fee in order, because they're giving them volume work. What are your thoughts about that? Or do you have any particular opinion about that? Should they do that or not?
Yeah, those are options. The book that I wrote really teaches people about that online gig economy. So how do you find these places online? And one of the reasons that I wrote that is because most of the time, you don't spend any money until you make money. And so your investment is next to zero. But again, it's like any other marketplace. You've got to do your research. You've got to understand what their expenses are going to be, because there are, oh my gosh, when I wrote my book, there were at least about almost 300 that I found, and I put almost 200 in the book, which tried to vet them because they're springing up every day. Every day they're springing up all over the world, all over the world. So, you want to make sure you're getting in with a company that maybe has some history, you can do some research on them or whatever, and you understand their pricing structure. But absolutely jump on board. I mean, for some people, depending on what kind of skill you have, that's low-hanging fruit. That's low-hanging fruit for you.
Yeah. And what we're talking about, people, is like right now, it's COVID, post-COVID, pre-COVID, a side hustle, that gig economy, getting a contract is always an intelligent thing to do to generate extra money coming into your income, into your household. You know, those of you that follow me, I'm always talking about ways to cut expenses and unplugging stuff from your walls, and so you're not draining dollars. Well, what about finding ways to infuse more dollars into the household, in addition to cutting on those expenses? So this is very intelligent, especially now while your jobs are uncertain. We don't know where from day to day how many people get affected and what they're going to have us shut down or what we got to do. So it's really important that you follow. You know, Angela is dropping some jewels and some nuggets.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Do the hustle without the hassle. That's what we're talking about here. So make sure you follow. So we always like around this time of the show to drop in your contact. How can people reach you? What's your website? Are you on social? Give us the goods.
Okay. Well, people can, they can check me out a couple places. My website is www.tkcincorporated.com. That's T as in Tom, K, Katie, C, cat, incorporated spelled out.com. On Facebook, I do a group called the Baby Boomers Make Money Group. I am going to change that name because it's really for Xers and Boomers. But yeah, I'm on Facebook there, and certainly on LinkedIn. Okay. But Victor, can I piggyback something that you said? I think this is so important. I love the fact that you guys are in real estate. Just very quickly, I had another company, and then I had my son got sick. And so I didn't work for 3.5 years. I'm a single woman, but I survived, right? Didn't lose anything. But one of the things I had in my portfolio was real estate. So the real estate, I love real estate. Because real estate, is going to prop us up oftentimes when nothing else will.
Yes.
So if I hadn't had that real estate, I would have probably been in a lot of deep, what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really glad that you said that, because it was, so many people ask all the time, especially right now.
Right.
Is this a good time to get in real estate? Should I wait? Should I not? And my answer is always the same. God is not making any more dirt.
There's no more land
out there, whether you believe or don't believe, whoever you believe in, that individual is not making any more. Yeah. So those that own something are going to be positioned for success, and those that don't are positioning themselves to always be dependent on the ones who do own it. So where do you want to be at?
Yeah, real estate is the way to go. It's a forced way to save money. It's a forced way to increase those dollars that you're saving. It's legacy building. It's definitely one of the things, like you said, they're not building any more dirt. And it has consistently appreciated. Even during the down times, real estate can be successful depending on your strategy of leverage. But real estate is definitely the way to go. There is a movie, I'm sure you ladies have heard of this already, The Banker. It is with Anthony Mackie and Samuel Jackson and Nia Long. It's on Apple TV, I believe. But people, please see this movie. It's about two brothers from the 60s that got into commercial real estate. They started with single families, fixing them up, renting them out, and grew into much bigger. It's a whole much more story to it. But these brothers were in the 60s, and obviously, if you think you have obstacles out here now, the 60s was a whole nother ball game.
Whole nother animal.
Especially if you're a Black person during that time, especially playing around with these folks' real estate. So watch this movie if you get an opportunity to see that. But this is the conversation we're having, is really about us building making ourselves more self-sufficient. We shouldn't have to rely on a company to tell us, well, your hours are worth this. Right. So this is what we're going to pay you, when your true value is worth 10 times that. Let's step back into our power, folks, and really take control of our time, take control of our money. And the gig economy is where it's at for sure. So I'm glad you dropped your information, and I'm sure Laquita has already put it up there.
I have in the comment section, everyone, please search the comment section, and we have Angela's website there. We also have her Facebook group, Baby Boomers Make Money. If you go on Facebook, search that group, you'll be able to find it. Also, if you search LinkedIn under her name, you'll also be able to find her. So you want to know more about the gig economy and what it is. And as Angela's already stated, it's simply gaining contracts, turning your side hustle into a legitimate business. I like that term, gig pire.
Yeah.
Build your gig pire. So if one's not working, something is working, so that you get to control your income, your own income potential. When the sister asked me about, how did I feel secure? And for as much as I earned during government contracting and in the government sector, period, the one thing that led me to know that I wanted to be an entrepreneur was I was really tired of other people determining my worth or my qualification for something. I had to spend hours perfecting and tweaking and knowing what this keyword was, paying this individual to do this or this, simply before a computer-generated system would select my resume to be forwarded to the hiring official. Then for the hiring official to go through my resume, hoping and praying that they haven't already made up their mind who they're going to hire. And they're just going through the motions so that you can't come back and legally say they didn't post the job. After 20 some odd years of doing that, I was real tired. I was real tired. So it was easy for me to walk away because no one's going to determine my worth like that anymore. Absolutely. My value. If I've been in this field 20 plus years, I should not have to tell the fresh college graduate why they should hire me. I'm just no. No. You just rolled out of your master's program. God bless you. I'm not taking anything from that. But while you were in your master's program, I was mastering this skill.
Right now.
I have a question for you, Angela. So you are also a professional keynote speaker. Tell folks out there that might be looking to start getting back into putting events on and they need some speakers, give some of your obviously this is the gig economy is your key as one of your keynote talks, but what are some other things people could expect from you if they are looking to hire you as a speaker?
Yeah, I talk a lot to companies and professional associations around the new world of work. And so that includes the gig economy, but it also includes like AI. And technology is technology is going to change everything. It already is. So, looking at, what are your staffing patterns now? What do you need and what do you need to leave behind? How do you manage a remote distributed workforce? That was something that a lot of companies didn't even care about because they had so few people but now they understand this is a global economy, y'all. You better know how to manage people, using some technology. So I talk a lot about that. And then, of course, the regular topics are things like, leadership and how do you go from a coworker to a manager? That's a good hot topic. And, getting into a little bit more about some of these more sensitive topics around fairness and diversity. But yeah, I love the whole team building thing. I also can bring predictive index into the mix, which is going to help you make sure you're hiring that person who's going to be the right fit. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't think about when they hire those contract workers. They don't think about how they're going to impact their team. But that's going to change after people come back from COVID because some of those contracts are going to be long. Right. And they are going to impact your team because they're not just sitting at home, creating your website. Right. They're going to impact your team. So if they're crazy and you're bringing them into your stable team, you got a problem. So I'm going to help you figure out who's the right people you need to put and where do you need to put them.
Where do you need to put them? Yeah, that's really good because you're right. If you're bringing in this contractor, this outside individual into your already jail team, there has the potential to be some not nice feelings going on.
Yeah.
How
I
do we
just
prevent
thought
that?
it like,
How do we prevent that?
oh my God. I used to manage call centers, and, I had teams of 20, 30 people in these call centers. And, there was always going to be one person that didn't like the perfume or cologne or the guy or something in the cubicle next to them. And I just think about this new world now. Somebody for sure going to walk in without their face mask. And
right.
It's all hell breaking off office, or the contract. He refused to wear his mask, boss. And, it's going to be those type of. So these are new conversations and new things that people are going to have in their workspace. This is so crazy.
And those are opportunities for some of these viewers to earn some income. I met a lady the other day, her company, she's a cleaning company, but now they got certified in these special chemicals that they're using. Right. But I told her I had saw an invention on LinkedIn, and that was some kind of UV light that goes into the hospital room, kills all the COVID virus.
Wow.
A machine, and comes back out and docks itself. See, that's the kind of thing we need to be prepared for. Yes. Companies are going to be looking for new ways. And this is the thing. We don't have to know how to do all of this stuff. We need to know how to get it to the company.
Yeah.
That's how you get contracts. You help them solve all of these problems around this coronavirus stuff. It's a lot of money to be made right now.
Wow. That I haven't seen that invention on LinkedIn, but that's going to be a game changer for a lot of people.
I've seen one that's looks like a little beer bottle opener, and they saying you use it to open your refrigerator, you touch your remote control and your TV. Like, it's just this metal piece that you carry around. I forget what they're calling it, the COVID key. The COVID key. And
so you don't have to touch things that people touch?
It's so many opportunities, but again, if you are a creative mind and you got that hustle in you, you can really be getting money. Think of all the people that are out here making face masks now, making money. That's a whole another stream of income nobody thought about in December. I'm almost positive. I mean, there might be a few sprinkles of people that were ahead of the game, but think of all the hundreds of people or thousands that might have a company now. So we got to get out here and start creating our own lane, our own way, people. So I love the work that you do.
Definitely. We have to as entrepreneurs, those of you that are watching that have been on the fence about whether or not I should become an entrepreneur. That's right. Get off the fence. Yeah. Come on over to the other side and be the best you that you can be. We go into corporate offices, and let me say this first. If you were strictly, I got to have a job and that's your lane, then that's your lane and you stay in your lane. This is for people who have been teeter-tottering and wondering if this is what they should do. And if you've been wondering, wonder no longer. Journey on over to the other side. We're not saying leave your day job right now.
Right.
But we are saying step into entrepreneurship and grow as an entrepreneur and get to that space where you can leave your day job because your gig buyer is now earning more than your day job and it's costing you money for being there. Mm-hmm. So make the transition and let it be a smart transition. You want to reach out to Angela. Check her out at her website. If you Angela, go ahead and give them your website again.
It's www.TKCincorporated.com.
Absolutely. Check out our website, go to our Facebook group, Baby Boomers Make Money. You're never too old to make money. You're never too young to make money.
You make it.
You're never too, there's not an age limit or an age requirement on entrepreneurship. The only requirement is your willingness to do it. That's the biggest requirement. Mm-hmm. Because if you're willing, somebody can show you the way to go.
And the way you can do it now, see, back in the day, when you would start a company and you had to spend all of this money, see, it was scary. It was scary. But there are things you can do now, you know, for $500, get in a business, $1,000. I mean, you can $25 get in a business, you know. So a lot of the fear should really be gone, because with technology, with social media, you know, there are young ladies online right now holding up a bottle of rub on your face, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars because they know how to play social media. You know, and so I just don't want people, especially people who have had limited opportunities, I just don't want them to end up after this thing, you know, in a bad situation, you know, where, you know, we're looking outside and we're seeing things that look like the Great Depression. I just don't want to see that for people. So we've got to figure out, what is that gift, that unique thing? What is that issue that we can solve and bring it to the marketplace, and bring it now, because things are going to change very fast. So what might work right now may not work a few months from now. Get it while you can, and then be ready to pivot when you need to.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So much great information today, Angela. We definitely appreciate it. Listen, guys, you don't want to miss on this opportunity. Go ahead and continue to hit those like buttons, hit those share buttons, start your watch parties, because Angela is definitely giving some amazing value on today about how important it is at this time to understand what the gig economy is, how to step into the gig economy, how to build your gig pyres. And if you're a small business owner, she's also given us some amazing value today on how we as small business owners can benefit from this gig economy, how we can tap into it and utilize the contractors, the men and women in that economy to help grow our businesses and take our businesses to the next level. So wherever you are, in your entrepreneurship journey, you don't want to miss this amazing episode. Stay tuned for this information, and continue to share this information with people that you know will benefit from it.
So one of our favorite questions here, Angela, is the show is called Create Your Future Self. What does your future self look like?
Well, you know, my future self looks like I probably won't ever stop working. I love what I do. You know, I love speaking and training. But my future self will be doing it all around the world. I've got opportunity during COVID. I'm actually going to be on a summit in Africa, the UK.
Yes.
But my future self, I'm going to be traveling around the world, doing my thing, and, you know, doing Facebook Lives from Tahiti and all of that.
Yes.
Don't do it to us. Like, no, do it to us. Yeah, do it to us. Inspire us. Get us out of here. We got to stop living in our neighborhood. We got to start getting out and looking at this world. It is some beautiful landscape out here in this world. So I'm so happy for you to be able to do that. That's awesome. Oh, man. When are you going to Africa?
I'm not going. I'm going virtually right now.
Virtually to Africa. I got you. There
I'm going virtually right now. I'll be going there soon. When we get all of this stuff under control. I'm not getting on a plane right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right now it's kind of touch and go. It's a little iffy. Well, good. Well, that's awesome. And so we know that you are able to inspire other people to have a better future self as well. And we're glad you came on today to talk about, you know, this gig economy and some things that people can do to, you know, strengthen their skill set, get out here and just take that leap of faith, you know, and be courageous to see what the world has to offer you. What do you have to offer to the world? You might find that, you know, you have something that it's been dying inside of you to get out. And because you've been comfortable working that job, you really can't work and have a living, you know. And so I probably work more hours now than I ever have in my corporate career, but it's all for myself and my family, for the legacy that I'm building. And, you know, to be able to wake up and decide if I want to go hard today or not go hard today, because, I'm putting in the work, and my business is something that I love. And so I love the fact that people can get out here and get these contracts. You can get as many or as few as you choose. If you are getting older in your life and you want to relax a little bit, well, just decide I'm only going to work Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever you decide. But you have that option, and you set your contracts up the way you want to set them up, and don't accept the ones you don't want to do that kind of work. I love that. So that's good stuff. Good stuff. Any closing remarks for us, Angela? Anything else? Any guidance?
Thank you, guys. This was so much fun. I had a great time. Thank you all so much. I love what you do. Just keep doing it. Keep helping people understand that, life is always more than we can think of and imagine. And when you go through one door, you will be surprised at how many more are already open. So just go through the door.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. So before you go, you were saying that you're going to be on a couple of different summits here. Can you tell us what some of these summits are and how people can connect with you on these summits and see your content?
I'm actually on a summit this week. I think Carol was on your show like last week or week before last.
Carol Boston?
Yeah. I'm on her.
Yes, Year with No Fear.
Year with No Fear.
Yeah.
I have a free masterclass on Thursday. It's called Be Your Own Boss. Get prepared to be your own boss. So that's a free masterclass. I'll put that in the chat function. That's happening on Friday. The South Africa Summit, I'm not sure what the name actually is. We actually meet tomorrow virtually I think it's going to be July 7th to confirm that the UK, I don't even know what they're calling this conference, is not until August, but that'll be virtual also. And then in November, I'm doing a International Global Entrepreneurship Week Summit. And hopefully last year we had 5 countries represented. I'm going for 10 this year. So
awesome. Wonderful things. Yes, please drop any of that info in the comments section there. And so that the rest of our viewing audience can see that, just hearing you list those things. And these are all things that you're doing in the midst of the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic. Whole world was shut down, but still learning how to pivot and learning and maximizing this gig economy and the virtual environment.
Right.
Embracing the technology to make sure that your business continue to grow.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun, and it was just delightful to meet you, Victor. Laquita, I talked with her before. We just had such a great chat, but it was really nice to meet you also.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Angela. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. So you guys, if we don't have anything else, Vic, go ahead and close us out.
All right, well, we appreciate everybody coming on in every Monday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Create Your Future Self. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, go to createyourfutureselflive@gmail.com. Shoot us some information, and we'll get back to you. But we appreciate you guys joining. Share, like, comment, and we will catch you next time on Create Your Future Self on Monday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.